This might be an overly niche experience, but have you ever been packing for a trip, realized you haven't checked the WBO for any events in the area, and found out your trip aligns with the biggest tournament that's ever happened in the state you're going to? Cause I have. I packed my bags and suddenly I was in Pawtucket, Rhode Island for the Battle of Olympus, a 48-man bracket with Aero Pegasus as the grand prize. Here's the organizer, Nicky D, in his element. Big thank you to him, as well as Steph and all the Bay State Bladers. They helped me get settled in as we got things started, and you know the competition is tough when someone's rocking the Breakfast of Champions. With 48 players, there's 6 rounds of Swiss, and then the top 16 will move on to the finals stage. And it's double elim, so I just need to win and win and win. Here we are in my first round versus Spin, a very young blader. Of course, you can never count the Gen Alpha bladers out. She is rocking Phoenix Wing on points versus my Nightmail 360 low rush. We were introduced to this blade last time. It's able to do a lot of good for me in KOing stamina types pretty reliably and outspinning a lot of attack types. So Phoenix Wing is a little bit sketchy to outspin there, but I am able to get the point. Next up is my Cobalt Dragoon on Elevate versus her Bite Croc on Ball. Certainly an interesting combo. I could see the idea of a stationary attacker, but Bite Croc does have a lot less weight than Shark Edge, and certainly less than Cobalt Dragoon, so Dragoon is able to beat it up a little bit and get the outspin. And here's what I'm saying about the Gen Alpha kids. She's rocking the same Cobalt Dragoon combo on 560 Elevate, and both launches are really good. She actually interrupted my attempt with Pegasus to stall. And shout out to all the parents raising elite Gen Alpha bladers. I know that I would have loved to have weekly Beyblade tournaments to go to when I was a kid. Who knows if I would have been able to hold my own, but here my Pegasus on level is going to get the outspin. That's usually what you expect in that matchup, and it's time for the reshuffle. She decides to go with Cobalt Dragoon, and I throw Nightmail on low rush. So that KO gets me up to 5-0. I take the win on Spin. Good games to her. Now we'll move on to my next opponent, actually a parent of Gen Alpha Bladers himself, Brandon last name. I was able to talk with him a little bit. He actually lives over in Japan. His work schedule doesn't really allow him to play in the open G3 events, but he's able to take his kids to them. So super cool guy. Like, how do I live this life? But I gotta get back on topic. It is my Nightmail versus his Phoenix Wing. And that sucks. My Nightmail got KO'd. Kind of a little cool 1-2 piece there, but it will put me down 2-0. The next matchup is my Cobalt Dragoon versus his Tyranno Beat.
3, 2, 1, go shoot! Launches, contact.
And it is a bad feeling putting Cobalt up against any attack bay, but luckily I'm able to hold off Tyranno Beat, get the outspin so I get a point back. And the next matchup is my Aero Pegasus versus his Scorpio Spear, I think on free ball. If you were around for the last episode, you know Scorpio Spear decks have been haunting me a little bit. But here they meet up in the corner, and my Pegasus is able to get a burst finish on Scorpio. So now I have a 3-2 lead. The picture is looking much better for me. I decide to throw Aero Pegasus, looking for that 2-point finish, and he throws Phoenix Wing, looking for the same thing. And he obliterates my Pegasus as it was riding the rail backwards. And in the Bay State, they count that as a 2-point finish, so now it is 4-3. Luckily, I pick into a good matchup for round 2. It is going to be my Cobalt Dragoon versus Scorpio Spear. People are very opinionated about the rulings of the over-the-top KO. My opinion is that I like the one that would help me out the most, so that match should have been a draw. But anyways, my Cobalt Dragoon tends to destroy Scorpio Spear on ball, so that will even up the contest at 4-4. The last round is my Nightmail versus his Tyranno Beat. In my head, I'm thinking this is a good matchup. I always get Nightmail to outspin Tyranno.
3, 2, 1, go shoot! Launches contact!
Nightmail, what are you doing? What kind of launch is that? But if we watch the replay, he actually calls out my launch to the reverse X. So GG's Brandon last name, he definitely got the better of me. Here's a look at my next opponent, Rest in Pieces. We were chatting it up a little bit. He was helping me get familiarized with the scene, so big thank you to him. And now we get to go up against each other. So after Nightmail lost me 4 points in that last battle, I replaced it with Tyranno Beat going up against his Phoenix Wing. Let's go. Nightmail, do you see that? That's what you're supposed to do. So I go up 3-0, and the next round is a Cobalt Dragoon on Elevate Ditto.
3, 2, 1, go shoot!
And what just happened? His Cobalt got bursted by something. If you check it out, I think it might have been me, but it also might have been here when it hits the extreme line. Either way, that is a bit of an anticlimactic finish, but we will take it. GG's, rest in pieces, on to the next opponent. Oh yeah, before that, I gotta get some practice rounds in with my cousin who I was staying with. He was cooking me with Hover Wyvern, a slight foreshadowing. Also, the Symposium was in town. They're the reason I was in Boston, so shout out to them. I'm putting you on. Okay, let's get started with the next match, where my opponent was Spicy Specimen. I caught a few glimpses of her matches, but ultimately I didn't really know what I was up against. Of course, Tyranno Beat stayed in the rotation after landing me 3 points last game, and she throws Whale Wave, which will definitely put a pit in your stomach.
Good launches, explosive hits.
Whale Wave is one of the biggest glass cannons in all of Beyblade X, so super terrifying to go up against. But Tyranno Beat is able to tolerate the first couple hits and land me the first point. The next matchup is another sketchy one. It is my Cobalt Dragoon versus her Tyranno Beat. For those of you keeping track, my Cobalt has yet to drop a point all day. I don't want to jinx it.
1, go shoot. Good launches, big hit right off the rip. Is it gonna be enough though?
My Cobalt hits such a filthy little move there. And Tyranno Beat is quite destabilized. It's lost pretty much all the juice, so my Cobalt is going to land me a second point. So Cobalt is carrying me today, and in theory, Aero Pegasus should be the third and final carry in my deck. But I totally mess up this drop launch from the X side. Kind of gives me flashbacks to the Beyblade State Qualifiers. You can see that I legit just get one attack on Silver Wolf before I go into this circular pattern. And if my Pegasus couldn't outspin Samurai Saber while doing this pattern, it definitely can't outspin Silver Wolf. But you could see Silver Wolf doing that goofy little dance. It was off balance a little bit, so my Pegasus is able to get pretty close here. But no cigar, it will be 2-1 heading into the reshuffle. So the old me would of course have Nightmail to throw here for the first pick, but Tyranno Beat is functionally very similar, and she seems to think the same thing. It's a Tyranno Beat showdown.
No contact just yet. There it is.
I almost got extremed. That would not have been good. But my Tyranno Beat is on Kick while hers is on Rush, so there's a great debate between the better of these two bits, but Kick is able to win out that one. So this is a slow match, just 1 point at a time, and here we throw into that round 3 matchup. It's Aero Pegasus versus Silver Wolf again. So the defense throw here is really interesting. It prevents her from losing 2 points and the game while reserving Whale Wave for the 3 slot, so super cool. I like the strategy coming out in this round. And look at this, my Pegasus gets so close to the extreme, but she attributes that to the 070 ratchet on Wolf, so any 070 believers in chat.
It's 070. Wow.
But my Pegasus does beat the heck out of that Silver Wolf.
Got enough out of it to take the spin finish.
So it's now 4-1 my favor. Cobalt Dragoon is a great pick to just score 1 point, but not against Whale Wave.
Do your best, buddy. Later set. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Good launches. There's the contact. Oh. Cobalt Dragoon stays in. Oh, that was good. And
Somehow Cobalt Dragoon is able to survive. So GG's Spicy Specimen, and hey, I'm 3-1. I'm doing pretty well. I'm sitting fairly pretty, but oh my god, what is that? My next opponent is a notorious top finisher from the area, Gold Soul. I got to do some practice with him right when I got to the venue, and his playstyle makes me rethink my entire plan. It is Aero Pegasus on the first throw because that's how on my back foot I am. I totally brought out my A game though. My Pegasus gets a really good hit on his Nightmail and survives getting extremed there. But as a longtime Nightmail user in a past life, I know that the risk reward here is to lose 1 or gain 2 or 3. So we're both just fine with me going up 1-0. His next combo is the one that was sending me into a crisis. It is Wizard Rod on level. Who does that? The long and short of it is that combo solos every single thing that I have in my deck. It is the anti-McFatboy 10 secret sauce, and the reason that I kind of overhaul my deck here. No one tell the Boise Bladers, and the worst part of all is that it outspins Dragoon consistently and dominantly. But good thing I have a Wizard Rod in my deck to deal with his Dragoon on Elevate. Oh wait, my Wizard Rod is just on ball. My idea with Rod on ball was just to give myself a chance against his Rod on level. You know, as soon as you see something that's kind of funny and creative and off meta, chances are that Wizard Rod on ball is going to beat it. And he also runs this Tricera press on wedge combo sometimes, kind of a defensive thing, so I thought it would be a pretty logical pick to go with Rod, but obviously it doesn't do any good for me in this battle. Going into the reshuffle, my main goal is to make sure that our Wizard Rods hit each other, and I also want to avoid my Wizard Rod into his Dragoon, so I throw it first. And I throw a Wizard Rod into his Knight Mail, so something I'm not super upset about. This means there's a good chance our Cobalt Dragoons run into each other, and it means my Pegasus might have a go at the Rod or Dragoon. Oh my god, and none of that matters, because the match is over. You know, my Wizard Rod tanks these hits, and I think it's looking pretty good, and then it's just dead, so GG's Gold Soul. So I know I said it's double elim, but there's going to be a couple of 4-2ers who scrape by into the finals. So this next match is huge for me because Fury, the guy that I'm about to play, did beat Gold Soul, the guy that I just lost to. So if I beat him, I think that'll be good for me in the standings. Yeah, man, big match coming up. The opportunity to salvage my whole day. I was getting cold, I was nervous, and I got to try the Louis Shirasagi ultra long ripcord. Shout out to Taj for that. But it's time for the absolute must-win match of the day versus Fury. I was trying to scour up some information on his playstyle, and the word on the street was that he plays a fairly defense-oriented game. So you can imagine my shock when Hover Wyvern is the first Beyblade I see.
Posture good. Very good. Contact, yes. No contact at all.
And you can hear the judge call no contact, which there clearly was watching this replay. His view is a little bit obscured looking straight down. Fury held his tongue like a good man. I probably should have said something because I was the one with the camera rolling, but we do just end up running it back.
3, 2, 1, go shoot. Posture good. Let's get some contact this time. Contact. Oh, and the different result.
In this moment, I just wanted to ask Fury if he wanted to gentlemen's and call it a 0-0 ball game, but I really wasn't sure what I saw in that first match either, so I was just rolling with it, but I do have just an odd gut feeling at this point.
3, 2, 1, go shoot.
The next matchup is Phoenix Wing versus Cobalt Dragoon, and he clobbers the heck out of me, but my Cobalt is able to stay in the ring. This position is usually pretty advantageous for Dragoon. I think Phoenix Wing is just on point or something, so I should have a lot better life after death than it and be able to get the outspin. But in an interaction I've literally never seen before, it just like slams me to the ground, and so that'll make the score 3-1. Last up is my Aero Pegasus into Tyranno Beat. So whoever said he was a defensive player, I think they were sabotaging me, and Pegasus and Beat are gonna scrap.
Big hits.
That was a joke about the intel thing, by the way. My deck here is exactly the same as it's been for most of my matches, and this one's gonna come down to spin. So close finish there, but it gets called in favor of Pegasus. So I'm now up 4-1, and I'm this close to making the cut to top 16 in a matchup that I like, Pegasus versus Phoenix Wing. But his Phoenix Wing beats my Pegasus into submission. That one I can usually outspin, but not when I spend so much time in the pockets. I totally mess up my drop launch, and he beats me into that corner. And look at this, back to square one. An extremely volatile matchup. I'm happy to just walk away with maybe -1 or 2 points here.
3, 2, 1, go shoot. Posture good.
But his Hover Wyvern hits perhaps the greatest extreme dash of all time. Absolutely sends my Tyranno Beat into another dimension.
Ball don't lie.
5, 3, 5, 4.
Man, I sold a huge lead, but that would have been such bad Bay karma if I won that one. You can see my strat was to go for that reverse extreme dash. It worked for me the first time, but looking at this overlay, you can see that his strat stays the same too. He just executes the Dragonic Break a little better this time, and it annihilates my Tyranno Beat and tournament run. But crazy thing, not only did the 3 bladers that I lost to advance to the final round, 2 of the bladers that I beat made it as well in the form of Spicy Specimen and Rest in Pieces. So I trust in these players to carry on the spirit of McFatboy 10 into the finals matches as I reflect on my failures on the train ride back to Boston. But little do I know that in this top 16 double elimination bracket, there is one blader to rule them all. Meet you Blades, the Aura farmer of all time. He's got insane launch tech, And it's not just for show, he is hitting nasty stalls all day and night. I was able to hop onto the Bay State Bladers TikTok stream so that I could catch the final round, and it was no surprise to see you Blades there, as well as Jensen, both of whom I did not get the honor of playing. This tournament set sounded so hype, it was a shame not to be there. They're even getting rowdy for the Wizard Rod Mirror. You can even pull off this super flat, full strength launch with Cobalt Dragoon. This guy knows something that I don't.
3, 2, 1, go shoot!
You made his run all the way from the losing side of top 16. And shout out to Nikki D for letting me use this footage of the Bay State Bladers TikTok stream. And guys, just let it be known to check the WBO when you travel. Beyblade tournaments are such a great way to meet new people. The Bay State Bladers made me feel right at home, so I really appreciate them. I caught my plane back to Idaho, where I was disgusted by the lack of public transit. But I got back home knowing that I have a bunch of Beyblade skills I need to work on.